Welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. We would really appreciate if you could recommend us to your friends and family, as well as share information on social media. This way more people would learn about the podcast and truth about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. My name is Artem, and here is the news. For 371 days, Ukraine stands strong against the forces of the Russian invasion. In his evening video address, President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky informed that he held a meeting on the energy sector of Ukraine. Quote, "This winter is over. It was very difficult, and every Ukrainian, without exaggeration, felt this difficulty. But we still managed to provide Ukraine with energy and heat," unquote, said Zelensky. He warned that the threat to the energy system remains. But the work for the sake of the energy system is also continued to ensure that this heating season is completed properly, and Ukraine has already started preparing for the next season. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said that Berlin will ramp up its ammunition production as well as weapon repair capacity to better support Ukraine's fight against Russia's invasion, reports Interfax Ukraine. Also, according to the German media Spiegel, the European Commission intends to present to the ambassadors of the member states of the European Union on Thursday a plan that will ensure the supply of ammunition to Ukraine, as well as the replenishment of stocks in the EU countries. According to the document available to the publication, the plan consists of 3 steps. The first one provides for an immediate increase in the supply of ammunition to Ukraine, especially artillery shells. The second step involves the joint purchase of ammunition by the European Defense Agency in order to replenish the stocks of EU countries and ensure the supply of Ukraine in the long term. The third component will ensure an increase in ammunition production capacity in Europe, taking into account the changed security situation. It is expected that Josep Borrell, the EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs, will soon offer an additional €1 billion support package for the supply of ammunition. The media says that assistance under the first component will be carried out according to the already established scheme. The EU countries provide supplies to Ukraine and receive money from the European Peace Fund in return. According to the second component of the plan, the EU member states and Ukraine should place a mass order and send a clear signal about the demand to industry, after which it will be ready to increase its production capacity, the European Commission believes. It also hopes that the joint order will lead to a significant reduction in product prices. According to the article, 25 of the 27 EU countries and Norway have already expressed interest in participating in the 7-year project. Spiegel also notes the current instability of ammunition supplies to Ukraine compared to last autumn. The Highlights from Ukraine podcast is an uncommercial initiative of just 2 people, and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we're getting better. Slovakia is considering transferring to Ukraine 10 of its 11 Soviet-made MiG-29 jets, which were decommissioned last year, reports European Pravda. In an interview with the AP agency, Slovak Defense Minister Jaroslav Naď said that his country is not planning on using those MiGs ever again, but in Ukraine they can help save lives. According to Naď, the last 11th Soviet fighter is planned to be handed over to a Slovak museum. It is expected that the final decision on the provision of MiG-29s to Ukraine will be made within several days or weeks, AP notes. Serhiy Nayev, commander of the Joint Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, informed that Ukraine's air defense brings down 80% of Russian missiles, reports Radio Liberty. Nayev added that to counter Ukraine's experience and skills, Russia keeps changing its tactics and the weapons it deploys in aerial warfare. The Ukrainian armed forces analyze every Russian attack and draw conclusions to ensure that the country's air defense is as robust as possible. The Russian Foreign Ministry claimed that Ukraine allegedly received dangerous radioactive substances from one of the European countries through the port of Chornomorsk and is preparing provocations, reports Interfax Ukraine. According to the ministry, provocations are to be targeted against the Transnistria region of Moldova that is controlled by the pro-Russian and Russian forces. Spokesman for the Ukrainian Foreign Ministry Oleg Nikolenko stressed that Kyiv is strictly committed to the non-proliferation of nuclear weapons and refutes fake information from Russia. He added that Moscow often accuses others of what they plan themselves. The Russian Foreign Ministry said that Moscow would only agree to extend the Black Sea Grain Initiative, which allows safe export from Ukrainian ports, if the interests of its agricultural producers were taken into account, reports Ukrainska Pravda. The Russian side stressed that continuing the package agreement on grain is possible only if the interests of Russian agricultural and fertilizer producers in terms of unhindered access to world markets are taken into account, according to Reuters. The deal brokered by the UN and Turkey is up for renewal this month. Ukraine has said it would seek a longer extension for up to a year to allow better forward planning and would also like to see the port of Mykolaiv included. Russia, however, has signaled that it is unhappy with some aspects of the deal. The business community has called on the UN and Turkey, the guarantors of the agreement, to facilitate the stable operation, extension and expansion of the Black Sea Grain Initiative and ensure free commercial navigation in the Black Sea. The Black Sea Grain Initiative was signed in July 2022 and allows for commercial food and fertilizer exports from 3 key Ukrainian ports in the Black Sea. The agreement was extended in November 2022 and is set to expire on 18 March 2023 unless an extension is agreed upon. Ukraine currently exports nearly 3 million tons of agricultural products a month, in line with the agreement. The High Anti-Corruption Court sentenced the former head of the state enterprise Boryspil International Airport, which is the main Kyiv's airport, to 5 years in prison, reports Suspilne. The head of the airport, Yevhen Dekhne, and the head of the rental relations service, Olesya Lyovochko, were found guilty of abuse of office, which caused more than 15.7 million hryvnia in damage. Lyovochko was sentenced to 4 years in prison. As reported from 2014 to 2019, Dekhne and Lyovochko transferred premises to business entities on the basis of concluded preliminary lease agreements. However, it turned out that the above-mentioned property belongs to the Infrastructure Ministry of Ukraine and only the State Property Fund has the right to lease it under the appropriate competitive procedure. Despite this, in violation of the current legislation, officials unlawfully transferred these premises to entrepreneurs at a low cost, which led to damage in the amount of more than 15.7 million hryvnia. The star of the Vikings television series, Canadian actress of Ukrainian origin Catherine Vinnik, became the ambassador of the United 24 charity platform, reports Obozrevatelь. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky spoke to the star who played Lagerta in The Vikings via video link. Vinnik will be involved in Ukraine recovery direction and will help collect money for the restoration of one of the 18 houses in Kyiv region, which will be the first to be rebuilt under this program. In total, 719 million hryvnia is needed to restore these objects. Thanks to United 24 donors from 110 countries, more than 510 million hryvnia has already been collected. Vinnik's parents are descendants of Ukrainian immigrants who in 1940, fleeing the Soviet regime, first moved to Germany and then to Canada. The actress herself said she was proud of her Ukrainian roots. After the start of Russia's full-scale aggression, Catherine founded the Vinnik Foundation, which provides humanitarian assistance to Ukrainians affected by the war. If you like what we do and would like to tip us, you can now do so directly to our PayPal. Check out the link in the description to this episode for more details. And as usual, you can subscribe to our Patreon. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.